I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 316. Welcome to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. I'm sitting here right now getting ready. I know this is going to be a big shock to you. I usually do my podcast before I take myself out for a fun day. That's usually the way I plan it. So my reward for doing this podcast and sitting down and talking to you and getting all of my thoughts together is a fun day. And probably one of my most fun days for me is when I get to go out in the woods. You know, you've heard this a million times, but I have to tell you, it's very, very motivating and very, very rewarding to be able to, it's like, I'm going to sit down and really get my thoughts together and have a chat with you. And I have to tell you, when I do this, it is a process just to sit down and talk to you and know that whatever comes out of my mouth, I have a light outline, and that whatever comes out of my mouth with this outline is going to be exactly what you need. And when I do that, then I get to go out and reward myself with being in the woods, walking. And one of my new things with walking right now is Nordic tracking, where you're actually using walking sticks in both hands to help. For me, it's to help get more upper body strength. And the reason that I decided to start using them was, as a lot of you may know if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, is I broke my elbow about 6 months ago. And part of my recovery was to start using walking sticks. Number one, to keep my balance, because I still had a little bit of fright, because when I fell, when I was walking in the woods and broke my elbow, there's still like a little bit of fear in there. So the walking sticks kind of help me feel better and feel safer when I'm walking. And on top of it, there's this thing called Nordic tracking, where it's a wonderful way to build upper body strength, to build bone density, and you work a little harder. And this is the best. I love it. So if I didn't love it, I'm not sure if I would keep it up. But the more I do it, the more I love it. And it's like this new thing that I do when I'm walking now. So, I wonder, as I'm telling you this about myself, I wonder if there's something that you'd like to try or that you've thought about, or maybe you've been forced or motivated to think about something else within something that you already like to do that may help your body, that may help your mind, that just may help you. And I'm giving you this example for me because a year ago, it never even crossed my mind. I never even thought about it. I love to walk. I go out in the woods, and this is the way I do it. But I also notice that as I get older, I want to keep doing new things. I want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And as all of you know, if you've been listening to my podcast for a really long time, and a really long time could be as long as 5 years, because I've actually been doing this podcast for 5 years, that from the get-go, you hear me talk about how much I love to go out and walk in the woods and do my thing. And I still do. And I have loved it for a very, very long time. And, maybe there's something that you really love to do too, that's like me, that benefits you so much. It's like it makes me feel better. It makes my body feel better. It is such a win-win situation. And moving our bodies is something that we must do. And here's the thing about some of you, is that some of you, many of you maybe, if you've been on diets your whole life and been using food as a way of either rewarding yourself or punishing yourself, exercise and moving your body may be in the same category as how you've been using food. So, maybe exercise is something that you have to do, just like if you think that you have to use food in a certain way that feels like you're somehow doing something that you don't really want to be doing and that it's not what you really want, but you're doing it because you want to lose weight, it doesn't last very long. And it's the same thing with moving your body and exercise. In the end, you have to find a way to love it. And with eating and eating fuel foods most of the time and eating joy foods sometimes, you can have a love affair with the way that you like to eat so that it's something that it can last with you for your lifetime. And I say this because for 30 years that I've been on this planet, the first 30 years were not like that. The first 30 years was all about either using food to reward myself or punish myself. When I regard and think about food as punishing myself, means that I'm eating in a way that I don't want to be eating only because I've done something wrong and the scale isn't saying what I want it to say. And I have to eat this way as a way of losing weight because I've done something wrong with food. It just is never going to last. At least it never lasted for me for 30 years. It's like, okay, it's reward time met. My scale was pretty good. The number on the scale was pretty good. And it was time to be able to reward myself with food. And then when I gained the weight, it was time to take the food away, kind of like punish myself. You kind of haven't been doing it right. Okay, we're not going to do this. We're not going to eat that. We're only going to have so many points. Some kind of external way of monitoring myself. And it can be the same way with an exercise program too, that you're using it as a way of punishing yourself because you don't like the way that your body looks. But you could use it as a reward if you find the reward in it. So for me, and the reason that I'm bringing it up is because the way that I move my body is rewarding. It's not punishing. I don't do it because I've done something wrong or I ate too much or whatever it is. I do it because I love it and because it gives me so much back and I feel so good. So if we were looking at emotions, maybe when I first go out for my walk and we think about the emotional hunger scale or we think about emotions and they go from a -10 to a +10, I could be in the -2 range, -3 range. I just got through, even like when I'm working with you and I'm talking with you. Right now, I'm kind of working and I'm thinking and I'm talking, and it takes a certain amount of energy out of me to do this. And I love doing it, but still, it takes something out of me. So when I get off from doing this, I may feel my body feel a little constricted, a little restricted, a little tight. But see, I already told you, I know what I'm doing after this. I know what I'm going to do to make myself feel different, right? It's a reward. And it's the same thing with food. You can use food as a reward for taking excellent care of yourself. So, okay, so there's cookies, and then there's a salad, and you're at a -2. So maybe your little brain's saying, that cookie looks good. But in the end, it is not going to be rewarding. In the end, what's going to feel the very, very best when you're at a -2 is you want to fuel yourself with something that's going to fill you up. So the salad seems like a much, much better idea. It feels rewarding. And I want you to think about that because one of the things that one of my clients brought up to me last week that I wanted to share with you as I'm talking about this reward punishment with moving our bodies, with eating, with taking care of ourselves, that in the end, the way that our brains work, our brains love pleasure and goes towards pleasure, right? And if we're thinking all of this stuff is terrible, you're going to have a rough thing with your brain to try to keep it up. So, one of the things that my clients ask me, she says, what was it in you when you were on your journey that made you want to eat the way that you're eating? She was really, really curious about this because she's in the middle of, losing her last 5 or 10 pounds. And she's lost some of her motivation. Number one of the reasons that she's lost some of her motivation is because of all the coaching that we've done. She's very, very happy with herself. And so when she hired me, she was miserable. And she thought it was her weight that was causing her misery. And after we did a lot of coaching on her mind and we started working on what she was putting in her mouth, she started getting happier and happier. And when she was happier, she hired me to lose weight so she would be happier. But what happened in the middle of this is she got happy and content without losing all the weight. And it was very confusing for her because she wasn't miserable anymore. So what was going to motivate her to keep going if she's not miserable anymore? And I want you to really think about this too, is I think a lot of you lose weight because you don't feel good about yourself. And you think that the weight loss is what's going to make you feel better about yourself. And yet what I notice with my clients, because it is a process that I use that doesn't just have to do with food. It has to do with how you manage your mind and how you think about everything in your life. And so as you start changing the way you think about everything in your life and you start feeling better, all of a sudden, this weight loss sometimes is not as motivating. For some of my clients, they find their happiness level without having to lose more weight, which is astonishing to them. And this isn't all my clients, but I think it's very interesting with some of my clients how they were more motivated to want to lose weight when they didn't like themselves, thinking that weight loss would give it to them. And then all of a sudden they go, wow, I really do like myself now. So what's going to motivate me to lose weight if I like myself and I'm happy already? And this is what I'm talking about for all of you, is that being miserable isn't what's going to motivate you. But wanting to take excellent care of yourself from a place of love and feeling happy and kind of accepting of yourself is a much better way to do it. And then to feel like you're rewarding yourself with the way that you're eating and rewarding yourself with the way that you're moving your body. And the reward is like a couple of things. Yes, you start losing weight, but more than anything, you start having confidence in yourself and you start feeling better about yourself. And as you start feeling better about yourself, if you've never felt good about yourself before and you think weight loss is what's going to do it, it's astonishing when that happens. And then you have to decide, well, do I still want to lose that weight and be happy? And I'm already happy with myself. I want you to think about that as you're on this journey, is how can I be happy and content with myself as I'm going through this journey, as opposed to thinking I'll be happy and content with myself when I end this journey, when I lose all the weight. Because, sweetheart, I got news for you. It doesn't work like that. After working with hundreds and hundreds of women, I've seen it all. And in the end, the reason they end up losing their weight is because they get to this point of love and self-acceptance while they're in the middle of doing this. And they feel like they're rewarding themselves when they put food in their mouth, when they put fuel in their mouth, when they're eating between the twos, when they're eating their planned joy eats and really enjoying a cookie or really enjoying potato chips and stopping the minute they're done. All of this becomes more of a reward for taking care of yourself and feeding yourself when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. It doesn't feel like a punishment anymore because there's nothing wrong with you and you already love and accept yourself. So when I was talking to this client, she said, what was it for you? If you could say one thing, what changed it for you? And she was wondering because she knows that I changed my career, like when I was in my mid-50s, from being a full-time chiropractor to going into coaching and ending up being a full-time coach. She said, what was it for you, number one, with how you came up with a weight loss process? And number two, why you became a coach and how you decided to do this. And I think it's worth explaining it to you too. I really love the idea of coaching. And I started out with Martha Beck and got certified with her, which was a beautiful experience and helped me understand how to manage my mind better. But then when it came to deciding on a niche, on who I wanted to help, that's when I got really honed in on this whole idea of weight loss and how weight loss came up for me because I was a chiropractor. I knew a lot about nutrition. I've been helping with people with that for years, just in terms of how to get out of pain, how to get healthier. I've been doing it for years from a physiological standpoint. And of course, I couldn't help myself, but do it from an emotional standpoint too, because it was just in me. So when I became certified by Martha Beck and I wanted to be a coach and I was trying to figure out a niche, I met a woman who was part of Martha Beck's tribe, who became one of my coaches. And she was calling herself a weight loss coach. Well, I've been to Weight Watchers for 30 years. I had never heard the term weight loss coach. Now, with this woman, what was so fascinating about her is that she was looking at it from an emotional standpoint, from a coaching standpoint. And she had done a recording with Martha Beck on weight loss. And I was on that call. And here's the question that she asked that made me light up and know what I was going to do. This is the question she asked the audience. Why do you eat when you're not hungry? Well, I had never heard that question before. And I mean, it just lit up my mind because I started thinking why do I eat when I'm not hungry? I never thought about it before because the only thing I ever thought about was I had to eat within a certain amount of points and I had to stop when I was done. And I only did it when I had to lose weight. And I never did it when I didn't have to lose weight. And so I never thought about, well, why do I eat when I'm not hungry? I eat when I'm not hungry when I don't have to lose weight. Because I could eat whatever I want. I don't have to be hungry. But when she said that, and then she said this is the two things that changed everything for me. She said, all you have to do is eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full and ask yourself the question, why don't you? And you know what I did after that? I just started testing what it was like to eat when I'm hungry and stop when I'm full. And to make a long story short, I ended up working with this woman. She now owns the Life Coach School. Her name is Brooke Castillo. But at that time, she was kind of fresh and I was fresh. And this concept was amazing to me. So that's what I want you to think about. If you're just listening to this podcast, or you've heard me say this a million times before, think of it in a different light. Think of it as a way of rewarding yourself. The reward is eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full, period. I'm not even going to talk about joy eating. All I'm going to talk about right now is what would it be like for you to sit down. I don't care what kind of food is on your plate right now. That's how easy I'm making it for you because this is how I thought about it in the beginning. Whatever you're sitting down to eat, can you do it when you're hungry and can you stop when you are full? And then, of course, I came up with this whole idea of a hunger scale. -10 is the most hungry, +10 is the most full, and eating between the twos. Eat at a -2, stop at a +2. Can you eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full? And why do you eat when you're not hungry? That's what I just want you to concentrate on this week. And I want you to think of it as a way of rewarding yourself, knowing there's nothing wrong with you anyway. You are wonderful. You are beautiful just the way you are. And you really are. Your self-worth doesn't come from weight loss. Your self-worth comes because you were born with it, and someone either helped keep that alive for you, knowing your worthiness, or maybe someone helped tear it down for you. But you were born with self-worth. You are worthy. All the weight loss in the world isn't going to make you more worthy. But I will tell you what, feeling good about yourself starts first. Losing weight starts second. And the best way to do that is to just say to yourself, sweetheart, all we have to do today is eat when we're hungry and stop when we're full, and just question ourselves, why are we eating if we're not hungry? And I say we, like you and yourself, me and myself, you're a team. I just want you to think about that this week, because for my client, it really helped her, even though she's been working with me for a long time. Just like for you, you might have been listening to me for a long time too, but maybe you hear this in just a different way. Could it be that simple? This whole thinner piece process that I ended up creating all started from that, and all started from me just doing that. And not only that, realizing that moving my body is something that feels good to me, just like taking care of myself feels good to me. That's what feels good. That's what's rewarding. That is the reward. And that helps you feel good about yourself. That makes you feel love for yourself. You need to be rewarded. It's your life. Reward yourself and do it with things that are going to give you the results that you want. And I'm going to end this by saying one other thing to yourself. Whatever you do, don't ever tell yourself you're not in control, because you are controlling everything. If you're putting food in your mouth when you're not hungry, you're controlling that. You're making a decision to eat, and you're in control. And when you tell yourself you're not in control, you can't control it. So from here on out, don't ever say to yourself, I'm not in control. You are always in control. You might not like what you've done, but you controlled it. You might not like the results, but you controlled it. And if you controlled what you put in your mouth when you didn't want to eat, you could also control yourself, and you would be able to say, stop it, or no, sweetheart, not today. You are the one that's in control. So that's what I have for you today. Reward and punishment. Reward is the best way to be able to get what you want. Rewarding yourself, believing that you're rewarding yourself. So no matter what else you do today or where else you go today, as you feel this wonderful feeling about yourself, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye. If you've been following my podcast and you're loving all the tools that I teach you, but you're just not sure that you can do it or apply it by yourself, then please go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. And you can find out if the program that I do and the coaching that I do will help you get to where you want to be, to learn all the tools that I teach and be able to make it a part of your life. Just go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. You can set up a free 30-minute mini session.